Hello? My name is Cipta. I am 39 years old, and I play with toys. I've always played with toys. I never stopped. I remember when I was 11 years old, and it stopped being cool to take toys to school with you in your backpack. And I remember when girls came over to your house, you had to put the toys under the bed and shove them in the closet because you were afraid they'd see them. And it kind of didn't make any sense to me. I thought, this is ridiculous. Why am I hiding my love for toys? It never happened that toys stopped being cool. Toys are so cool. But I had to make this decision when I was 11 years old, and I decided I'm going to be true to myself. I'm going to be true to my love of toys. So this is me when I was 11 years old. Now, as an adult, I feel that toys have formed the basis of my career, but they've also helped to define who I am. And through playtime with toys, I believe that I have developed a better self-awareness. I design all kinds of toys, from aqua blasters to brick play to dough sets, transforming toys, gadgets. I design all kinds of things, but the toys that I'm most passionate about designing are figurines. For me, the deeper meaning of playtime isn't about the bouncing balls and the yo-yos and the spinning tops. It's about those toys that take you outside of your body, outside of ourselves. And for the duration of play, we become that toy. I also believe that playtime with toys is a reflection of the human spiritual condition and our relationship to a greater power. When you hold a toy in your hand, you're holding a little inanimate version of yourself. And the worlds that you create are made up of all of your fears, but also all of your desires. Mostly your desires, and sometimes your fears. For those of us who believe in a greater power, God, or I like to call it the big G. I don't know why I call it the big G. The big G. Anyway, it kind of makes sense to me to think of ourselves as toys in the big G's toy box. And our lives are this complex playtime that's made up of the big G's desires and the big G's fears. But we are also little G's, all of us, little gods, little creators. And we all have the capacity to imagine anything and everything. We have the capacity to imagine anything. That's huge. As children, we allow ourselves this time to imagine. But as we grow older and become adults, we don't need, or we don't feel that we need to project ourselves into these inanimate objects anymore. Playtime evolves, and it becomes a kind of make-believe, where we make believe that we're adults. Even before we're adults, we make believe that we're adults until we actually become adults. And then playtime with toys is completely forgotten. My theory is that through playtime, we can learn to appreciate ourselves as those little G's. And that way, we give ourselves a better direction, and we can find a purpose in life. As we strive to become better creators, we are striving to be better toys in the big G's toy box. I want to talk a little bit about the toy industry, or what I know of it. Lego, in 1949, they introduced their first playable brick set. But it wasn't until 1978 that they introduced something that was truly revolutionary, and that was the minifigure. Now, the minifigure completely changed the way that we play with a plastic brick. It was a little humanoid avatar that took playability with the plastic brick beyond just building creatively, because now children have someone to build creatively for. When I was growing up in the 1980s, there were all kinds of cool toy lines. There was G.I. Joe, there was Star Wars, there was My Little Pony, there was Barbie, there was Transformers, and all of these toys came with these pre-designed stories, these pre-designed characters. And these toys were so cool because they could fit into these little vehicles that you could get with them, or you could buy the vehicles for the toys. And they came with accessories that you could interchange with other toys. And they were small enough that they could fit into their own bases, or their own mansions, or their own castles. As we learned about their stories by watching Saturday morning cartoons and by reading comic books, it was really up to us, the kids, to take those stories and to take those characters even further through play. In 1982, the Masters of the Universe toy line introduced He-Man and Skeletor and hundreds of other awesome villains and heroes. And these guys that developed Masters of the Universe, they did extensive research into what it was that children, mainly 5 to 10-year-old boys, what it was that they wanted in a toy. Their conclusion was power. Children want to feel powerful. If you remember the catchphrase, actually most of you won't remember the catchphrase. By the power of Grayskull, I have the power! That was awesome. When I was a kid, I couldn't wait for that part to come on the cartoon. And then I would go and play with my toys, and I'd reenact that scene over and over and over again. I couldn't get enough. When children have a powerful character that they can portray through a toy, they feel like they're in charge. It doesn't matter if it's a hero or a villain. Masters of the Universe completely changed the way that we market toys, because they tapped in to what children want out of play. And they exploited it. And they did it very, very, very well. In the book, Killing Monsters, Jared Jones discusses how playtime with toys is important for children because it helps them to face their fears by introducing violence into the play. Buildings might be constructed just to be destroyed. Monsters are imagined just so that they can be defeated by a hero, or vice versa. It was beautiful that sometimes you have to introduce violence into your play so that you can process your anger. And that's what kids sometimes need. They just need to be able to process their anger because they're dealing with a whole lot of stuff. It might be a bully at school, or perhaps violence that they see in the media. I mean, how else are they going to deal with that? Playtime with toys gives them a way. Conflict in real life doesn't always find its resolution. It's the same with playtime. When you play with your toys and you create these conflicts, you don't do it so that you can find some resolution. All you're doing is playing and maybe exhausting those frustrations in your life that might lead to, or they might be the seed of anxiety or disappointment. If you ask me, playtime with toys is just as important for adults as it is for children. Our place in this world is often uncertain. There's so much in our lives that is out of our power to control. Playtime with toys gives us that control. Choose a toy Use it to role play. Pretend that you are something that you are not. You might just find that by opening your imagination to new possibilities, you can truly become who you choose to be. Youthful vision. The ability to see through a child's eyes. The ability to see the world through a child's eyes. That gives us the capacity to believe in the potential for anything to exist. I believe that youthful vision is a most basic form of magic. We grow up believing in monsters, believing in Santa Claus, believing in superheroes, because as children, we have no doubt. As adults, well, we lose that youthful vision. That is the source of our fears, but also our wonder. And it is the loss of that wonder that some people, they never get over that grief. And it can fester. And it can eventually lead to all of our bitterness and disappointments in life. Playtime with toys can be a tool to train ourselves to just let go of reality just enough to experience the joys of youthful vision, that happiness and wonder once again. I remember the first time I saw the Disney Pixar movie, Toy Story, the trilogy. I thought, wow, somebody else gets it. Somebody else understands. Playtime is never ending. When we aren't moving these toys around in physical space, they are already part of the worlds that we've created in our imagination. Imagination, it doesn't switch off. It resonates. The worlds that we create, the characters that we imagine, resonate through these inanimate objects that we play with. We have instilled power into something that has no life. Some people say that children nowadays, they're more into video games than they are into toys. I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that's true for a second. Because the realm of playtime is beyond anything we can imagine. In these worlds created out of zeros and ones, playtime has no boundaries. And that is why it will never be replaced by predesigned worlds. In the digital world, it just doesn't compare. I can't tell you how to play. Everybody plays differently. When we play, we don't see the room around us. We don't see this living room. We don't see the rug. We don't see the furniture. Maybe we see a castle or a forest or an ocean or outer space or inner space or anything or everything. I can't tell you how to play. Some people, they don't even need a toy to see a rocket ship flying through space. They just need a feather or a leaf or a pen. Some people even make their own toys. There are no rules. And that is why playtime is magical. And it's for everyone, not just for children. In a few months, I'm going to become a dad. I'm going to be a father in a few months. Thank you. That's awesome! You know, I never imagined that I would be so excited about it. But now I think about it all the time. It's all I think about. Because soon, sometime in the near future, I'm going to have somebody that I can play with the way that I used to play when I was a kid. When I was a kid, those were the best playtime years of my life. But now, I feel like the best years are still ahead of me. Choose a toy. Choose yourself. You just might find that by letting go of reality just a little bit, you can become who you truly wish to be.